friends, it's Trevor, it's Avery, it's Pat, it's the citywide special. Tragedy strikes the Sixers yet again. After losing their fourth straight game, Joel Embiid has a torn meniscus. How long will the reigning MVP be out for? Is the team's playoff hopes over? How will this affect how Daryl Morey approaches the trade deadline? Are the Sixers truly cursed? Don't look to the Flyers for relief, as the Orange and Black have lost 5 straight themselves. Carter Hart has been confirmed to be among the 5 players charged with sexual assault and has surely played his last game for Philadelphia. What does the goalie situation look like from here? Is the tank back on? Or will a move be made to keep their playoff hopes alive? The Eagles have hired Kellen Moore as their offensive coordinator. What will the former Chargers OC bring to the Birds? Vic Fangio has been officially announced as a defensive coordinator as well. Can the revamped coaching staff bring new life to a team that struggled so much to end the season? And is Jason Kelce's brother a government psyop? All that and more coming up right now. How's it going, fellas?
Pretty good. Good to be back. 47. Damn, I feel like that's a good thing to be here for. I mean, 47, it's a lot of weeks to be doing, sitting down here in this basement or upstairs together, but I don't know why I just hit just now. But week's going good. We had someone up on our roof today putting up some shit. We had a little leaky roof for a little bit after that snowstorm, so we got that all covered up. Just a little tiny hole, but all good now. But yeah, it feels good. It's actually not cold out today, so got me thinking about warmer weather. Felt good to have the sun on my face a little bit. Plans were happy. I was happy. So yeah, man, good to be back.
You're getting a little carried away with this happiness.
I in non-sports world, I got to look at some things a little bit that aren't just doom and gloom all the time. I saved that for here.
Huh. I guess that's
Keep
fair.
things in perspective, you know?
As you coined it,
Life goes on.
This is sad boy winter, or as Gloucester said in Richard III, the famous William Shakespeare work, now is the winter of our discontent. We in here, man. This is
Damn, dude.
the vibes are dark right now.
I love that he had the we in here too. That was Shakespeare. Yeah. I did like that.
But yeah, it's
the Queen is dead.
Not great to be a Philly sports fan, but you know what? Hey, we're in February. We got Groundhog Day tomorrow yet. You think he's gonna see a shadow? Did you look up the forecast?
I think it's still just gray. I bet you he sees that shit and it's still fucking, what is it? If he sees his shadow, it's still like a month of winter, and if he doesn't see the shadow,
back in.
Yeah, nah. If things have been checking out the way it's been checking out in PA, he's not gonna see that shit. Yeah. He's gonna see the shadow or not see the shadow. It's gonna be more winter.
One of the final remaining pagan rituals in Pennsylvania, you know.
Have y'all ever actually paid attention to what this is, the spectacle of
if it
Groundhog
checks
Day
out?
is?
It's weird.
Yeah, I was I thought you were gonna ask if we check the data and seeing if
we believe in this
actually bears out, or if this is just a bunch of hokum.
Well, you know what? I'm a believer in it. I think that it's true. I think it's a mindset. I think if that little fucking thing says it's gonna be winter, I'm like, damn, I'm depressed for another extra month or so. But if it says it's gonna be warmer, I'm like, you know what? It is a little bit lighter out now.
Oh, he hits you with that placebo.
He got me with that.
Yeah.
He got me.
Now, the whole spectacle of Groundhog Day doesn't really make any sense to me, but I guess Punxsutawney's in the middle of nowhere, so they ain't got nothing else better to do.
We should go see that one day. Do a live pod there.
Yeah. It's too white.
Just try to reenact the whole.
It's real. I mean, the fact that these people aren't just white, but they're white pulling out a groundhog. That is some extra shit.
Go there.
They got the top hats on.
Yeah. Also, I don't think there are really women involved. I think it's like. It's a male-dominated thing, so there
it's
might
always
be...
a guy in a fancy, the suit and the top hat pulling the groundhog out.
That poor groundhog, all he wants to do is
hibernate. Is it the same one?
I mean, I don't know what the lifespan of a groundhog is. I assume it's kind of like Lassie, where they just kind of replace it every few years, I would imagine.
Let's see. Average lifespan, not of U.S., of a groundhog.
Probably just grab a new one each year.
Let's see what we got. Pat, you're looking it up too?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Damn, only 3 years?
Yeah, they're grabbing a new one every couple years, man.
Yeah, we're on
At most, they can reach up to 6. In captivity, which maybe he's in captivity, 10 to 15.
Nah, they should grab a stray one every year. That would be a real test. You go to a
How
real
long
hole.
have they been doing this for?
Oh, it's been a thing for a long time. I want to say since like the 1600s.
I will say, though,
Really?
a lifespan of a groundhog in the Northeast is like a week or two if you're lucky when you catch them. tearing
You
up.
caught many groundhogs?
Oh yeah, man. We went through a summer once, me and my dad. We displaced like 6 of them.
I didn't realize there were so many groundhogs up there.
Oh, they love pears, man. So it was a lot for a
Yeah.
while. They get all big and happy.
Groundhogs and Twisted Tea.
They start building up
It's
tunnels and
Northeast,
shit. They had tunnels all up in the neighborhood. People
Really?
were happy that
You had a community of groundhogs, like the
whole
Orthodox Jews. They were
Dude,
living under your house.
we almost had to spray them with paint to make sure it wasn't the same one coming back because like we would like take it to the golf course.
You were
and then,
tagging
like,
them?
Well, we thought about it, but then we were just, getting them out of here for a little bit, pulling out all the tricks. But yeah, we
Sure
must
to
have
get
caught
your groundhog spayed and neutered.
we
Help
must have
control
caught like
the
6
pet
groundhog
population.
one summer in like a span of 2 weeks.
6.
Yep, I shit you not.
Jesus.
That's wild.
It's nuts.
Dude, you know what else is coming? I believe this summer is the cicada thing.
Oh,
Oh, Brood X.
the big one.
Well, there's like it's two. It's like the eclipse of 2 different. There's the one that comes every 17 years, but I think there's like another one that comes every so
Like-
often years, and this year both of them
It's
are
the mega
overlapping.
one.
So there's going to be. I feel like it never really hits this area that
We don't
much.
even hear him in the
We don't
city.
really hear them that much. But there's some places where they cause like car accidents and shit because there's so many cicada carcasses in the street. They like tires slip on them.
You can't get no traction.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's just full of dead cicadas. It's
Yeah.
quite a life. They just come up every 15 years, get eaten by birds, do it again in 15 years.
That's it. They
Talk about living underground.
Yeah. So there is at least one thing worse than being a Sixers fan is being a cicada, I think.
You wake up, you have sex, you die. I mean, it's not the worst thing in life. If
Yeah,
that's your
right.
life, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's supposed to be like the mega year this year.
Interesting. We might have to go somewhere where we can observe the spectacle.
I mean, camping should be brutal this year if you go anywhere.
You're
out
not
like
going to
that.
be able to, you're going to wake up at 4 a.m. because you're going to hear.
One time we were camping, we put like one of those little like outdoor kitchens up, like with the screened in thing.
Mhm.
And we put it right over apparently where like all the cicadas were coming up. Woke up the next day, filled with cicadas.
Oh, God.
All over. Making all that noise and shit.
Yeah, not a fan. But anyway, guess we'll have to be ready for that when the moment hits.
Yeah.
It's coming. But yeah, man, not bad. So a weird of events with animals and shit coming up, but also just as weird for Philadelphia sports. I feel like it's funny to make fun of everyone else's meme where it's like we didn't boys losing the first round of the playoffs and then do whatever. Where the Philadelphia sports wheel of endless doom is just like, well, at least you got the Eagles coming up. Then they disappoint. And it's like, well, at least the Sixers are playing. Then they disappoint. It's like, well, spring training's back, baby. So now at least the Phillies will be here one day and we can root for them. But then
In like 2 months.
they'll most likely disappoint. And
We'll
it's
also
like, damn.
have done absolutely nothing this offseason. So.
No. It's been miserable this.
That's kind of
this
just how
stretch.
baseball is now, though. Like, I mean, there's a lot of guys that still haven't been signed. It's kind of ridiculous. They need to do something about that. I don't know. But yeah, we got what do we got here? We got the Eagles are out of it. The Sixers look like they might be doomed. The Flyers vibes are at an all-time low this
They are
season.
who we thought they were.
And the 2 teams that no one wanted in the Super Bowl are in the Super Bowl.
Ugh.
So that's what we're looking at here, folks.
Yeah, everything's going well. Nah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
guess what do we want to get into first?
We can start, I guess, with. Do we want to start with all the bad news? I mean, the Eagles aren't really bad or good. It's just
It's
news.
just meh.
So
Yeah, it's just some
do
news.
we want to just go with depressing first, or do we want to just go get the Eagles out the way?
I guess we can get the Eagles out of the way.
Okay. Yeah, I don't really have an opinion.
Yeah, it's like a neutral. It's like a plateau of the season. You know what I mean? New coordinators. Great to see some fresh faces / familiar faces with Vic Fangio coming back home. I like the moves. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Yeah, I feel like they pretty much got the kind of guys that they probably would have tried to get last year if they were in this position. They didn't have to scramble for people. I mean, they hired these guys pretty quick, but they seemed like they got their guys. Certainly, Fangio was the guy they would have had last year, and then Kellen Moore, guy who interviewed for head coach before they've hired Sirianni, so they've kind of always had their eye on him. Obviously, think pretty highly of him. I feel pretty good about him. Had that Cowboys team 2 years ago that had a really good offense. And then the Chargers they're the Chargers, but you had Herbert out for a while this year. Still did a pretty decent job with that team, I would say.
Yeah, I like the OC move. I think that Kellen Moore in this, at least with the weapons that he has, you bring a guy like that with good ideas and a pretty functioning offensive scheme with two back-to-back 1,000-yard receivers and back-to-back 1,000-yard running back, whoever is back there next year with a great O-line and a promising young quarterback, I think would be a dream spot for any OC, especially with a potential contender. I'm curious. I like the Vic Fangio signing. I'm just curious to see how they build the defense around them because you're going to lose a lot. It's not like, Kellen Moore, any of us could really be the OC next year and do a pretty good job. Like, you don't have to do a whole lot of hand-holding, where Vic Fangio, I think, has the biggest task of the two that they brought in, just because you're going to lose either Graham or Cox or one of each or both. You never know. Probably, hopefully, Bradbury. You got an aging secondary or a very young, juvenile secondary, and just young players in general that could use. It's a good chance to develop that talent, but it'd be interesting to see what he builds on this defense with the pieces that he has.
Yeah, I think with his defense, what the film grinders, the film guys, the NFL film heads have been saying is that you really need good safety play. Linebackers, you need better linebackers than the Eagles have, but to run any scheme, as we've talked about before, you need better linebackers.
You just
than the Eagles
need linebackers in general, honestly.
So yeah,
something slightly better than a warm body.
Exactly. So yeah, to your point, right? The personnel is going to be key here. Certainly, defensive line. If you figure if one of Cox or Graham comes back, you should be okay. I mean, Jalen Carter, we know he's going to be a stud. Jordan Davis, we hope he can get it together and stay in shape and stay healthy. Milton Williams balled out at the end of the season. Even Tui Pelotu, he was hitting his stride pretty good. So defensive tackle, I think you'll be okay. Edge rusher, I mean, you figure you still got Reddick. You still got Sweat. You still got Nolan Smith. You would expect him to get a little better.
Big development year for him.
You'll probably go out and land a guy or two. So defensive line, I think they'll be okay. Secondary, the film heads are saying that cornerback, it isn't the most focal position in the secondary in Fangio's defense. It's really about his safeties. I don't want to get too nerdy or technical, but safeties need to be able to really quickly read and diagnose plays and rotate quickly. Sidney Brown, you would think he could do that, but he's coming off an ACL.
Yeah, he probably
Jury's going to be out
fairly late in the season.
Reed Blankenship, I would think he can do that. My concern with him is he's probably not fast enough to cover a lot of ground like that. So we'll see what they end up doing at safety. I doubt they draft anyone super high, but maybe a free agent comes available. We'll see. Maybe they trade for someone. We know how he likes to trade. But yeah, I like the Vic Fangio move. I think, as we talked about a little bit last week before the signing was official, his defenses have kind of become a little predictable when other guys run them. Mm-hmm. But he's the OG, man. He invented it, so he'll be able to adapt on the fly. And from what I understand, from what people have said that know his scheme, he does adapt. He does make adjustments when need be. And I like it. As far as Kellen Moore is concerned, I think that it is a really good move. He'll bring NFL principles to this offense that we didn't really see. He runs a lot of motion. I think he was 8th in the league in motion. He'll run play action. Mm-hmm. He'll throw a lot of plays from under center into the offense. Now the question becomes, can Hurts run a system like that? We haven't really seen him do it. Yeah.
I think that you pay the guy the big bucks to be adaptable. And I think that goes into what we kind of said last week, where losing Brian Johnson, who's been with him almost his whole career and just whole life in general, you lose that safety net. I think it'd be good for him to have that sour taste in his mouth from having a MVP caliber year the year prior. You're in the Super Bowl. The city's all got your back. Now people are throwing into question, was this another Carson Wentz move? You paid him too soon. Is he reliable? Is the knee going to be okay? Can he still run? Is he going to make good decisions? I think that Kellen Moore has dealt with very good young up-and-coming quarterbacks as well, with Dak Prescott, with Herbert. So he's used to that kind of mentality from dealing with a guy like that under center. And I think, again, it helps with whether you have Kelce back or not. The O-line's still going to be probably a top 5 O-line in the NFC or in the NFL, really.
I don't know if you can say that if Kelce's not back.
I would.
You're putting a lot of faith on Juergens.
Well, I'm putting more of the faith in Stoutland. I think that O-linemen, they've been able to find guys in the draft. Obviously, Kelce is a guy we haven't really seen them draft a true center in 10, 12, 13 years, however long he's been here and actually played center. But I think that this is a good test for Hurts. I think it'll be a good enough challenge to keep his mind off of MVP, getting back to the Super Bowl. If he can just focus on learning a new system and playing that, I think it's well, and he's got the weapons to do it. So if he only learns 75% of it and it's a tricky system, you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Goddard, you have plenty of weapons around to help you out with a scheme like that. They won't just be running with their backs toward you. You'll have he'll put you in a good position in the beginning. I doubt they're going to throw the whole playbook at him from the jump.
I would say one thing that really encouraged me about Kellen Moore was seeing some of these route charts you see people put out, or it just shows the all the routes that whatever receiver ran during a game. And there was one that I saw of Keenan Allen, and it's just, I think he had like 20 targets this game. It was kind of insane, but it was
just
a
target monster.
Yeah, but it was just all over the field. Yep. And then right next to that was one of Devontae Smith's from last year, and it's just all just on the edge. There's maybe one slant route in the middle of the field, and I'm just like, if you can just bring some of that, I'll be happy. And he's also apparently supposed to be very good at scheming against the blitz. So you figure
no
that's another
passes.
Yeah, I mean, you figured that's a couple areas where we are really lacking, that hopefully he'll be able to plug those holes, so to speak.
Well, here's the deal about Kellen Moore, right? This is maybe, I wouldn't say it's a con so much as it's something to consider with him, is doesn't really run the ball.
That is true.
But
neither does his offense anyway.
But you have Jeff Stoutland, who's our run game coordinator, who's one of the best O-line coaches, is the best O-line coach in the league. I shouldn't even say one of. So I think there could be some sort of conflict, not where it's going to blow up or anything, but they're really going to have to figure out how they want to run an offense in terms of a run-pass balance. I mentioned that Kellen Moore runs a lot of motion. Since Jeff Stoutland's been the offense coordinator, even before Nick Sirianni, the Eagles never really been a heavy motion team. You can't really be one when you run RPOs, because the minute you start running someone in motion, things get confusing. Depends on when the ball snapped, depending on whether the quarterback keeps it, whether he's throwing it, whether he's handing it off. A lot of things can go wrong if you're running motion while that's going on. So I do think it'll be interesting to see, as an offense, how the two of them meet in the middle, how Sirianni kind of oversees it, and if Sirianni can keep his nose out of it and just let them figure it out, which I kind of have a feeling Sirianni, if they have a couple bad weeks, which could happen as you're going through these growing pains, I kind of have a feeling that Sirianni, being on the hot seat still, I think we can all acknowledge he's going to be on a short leash to a degree, might start to meddle. Whole summer to figure that out, whole preseason to see what they do, how they run an offense, but that is something I think it'll be worth considering as the season starts in like 12 months, or not 12 months, 8 months, whenever.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you hit on all of it, right? It's personnel they bring in through the draft, free agency, things like that, trades. We have a lot of draft picks. We have the most comp picks coming in right now. I think we got 4 or 5, so that's a good thing to come through with all those moves that we made last year after we went to the Super Bowl and lost all those guys. I think that the senior presence in the team from a coaching standpoint is good and welcomed with Vic Fangio. Not that Kellen Moore Sr., but having seen,
he's been around for a while.
AFC and NFC sides of the house too, where you see two different schemes. Dallas was kind of trying to find out their offensive identity. He was on their team when they still had Zeke, so they again had established in the trenches.
He was
in a
still
big
a
run
player
game.
On that team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you have a guy that's seen two different types of offenses. You're naturally afraid of changing things with motion and stuff like that, but you look at San Fran, and McCaffrey still was able to get his numbers by running the ball, and that's fine. I think it's an interesting thing. I think Sirianni definitely is on the hot seat. This is a prove-it year for him. The fact that Fangio has connections too with Hurt or Hutt, the big fucking
Clint Hurt,
Clint Hurt,
the absolute unit.
Yeah, so you have a guy that
Big guy.
was a DC before, and now he's just a defensive line coach. But if unfortunate things happen out in the first couple of weeks that Laurie wants to make a move, pull the plug, I think that you could see Fangio step in and have the big boy come in as DC, and it'd be fine from that perspective. But I'm not ready to make that move yet. I just think that the moves that they have made are promising. There's still a lot of great head coaches out there that if things were to go tilt, you could bring someone in to prep for the next year. But I'm pretty optimistic. Nothing crazy, but I think it's actually good moves. Like your point, Trevor, like they were quick on making decisions as head coaches, where I feel like being so good, you're stuck with that, where we went to the Super Bowl with Dougie P. We got gutted and we didn't bring anybody else in. And we lost Dougie P. Then you bring in, Sirianni, and you go to the Super Bowl and you lose everybody again and you're late to the game, where at least now we have two well-known and well-respected coordinators at the position, and we'll just see how it shakes out.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, the other reason for optimism, this is looking far into the future, so we get the second-place schedule this year. The gauntlet that we faced, the 6-week stretch where it was Dolphins,
Buffalo, KC,
Cowboys,
Dallas twice, just about.
Yeah, we won't have anything that challenging.
Yeah.
And, I mean, certainly the Eagles lost some very winnable games this year down the stretch for sure, but I think a lot of it was probably a product of just playing grueling game after grueling game, primetime game after primetime game, 4 o'clock game.
In the rain,
Monday night game.
A lot of sloppy games,
right.
too.
You get flexed into a Monday night game.
Overtime.
Yeah. So I think
we'll have more than 3 1-o'clock games next year.
Yeah.
So I think all of that bodes well for the Eagles. Reasons for optimism, and I'm not saying that Sirianni is definitely going to meddle, but I could see it happening.
Yeah, he looks like he got put in his place at that press conference. He looks like he's just doing enough to not get yelled at.
Hopefully my man gets some damn rest, dude.
Yeah.
All those bags under his eyes.
I know, he looks fucked up.
All
It's
tired.
like when you see those pictures of the president before and after,
I seen one of Sirianni. When they first hired him, he looks young, he looks chipper, his face is nice and full, no dark circles, skin looks nice and clean. What's the word
Hair's
I'm looking
turned
for?
gray like Obama.
Plump.
Yeah, he's looking good. Now you look at him, he just
Like a
looks
fucking
hungover.
cactus.
His skin's all dry. Face is all long and gaunt. It's like, damn, dude.
He's been living off Pizza Hut.
He turned too much into a Philadelphia. We're like, whoa, we liked because you acted like it. You don't have to really be one yet. Like, you don't have to look like you're living on 95.
Dude, you're a football coach. You can't be looking like that. You got to look like Andy Reid, look fat and happy.
But yeah, I think there's reason to be. Obviously, we're depressed from the season the way it ended, but reason for a slight optimism. Nothing crazy, but just they didn't do anything stupid. I like the move. They didn't go out for a crazy fucking new up-and-coming DC or a new up-and-coming OC. They got guys that are well-established, have an actual process to their name. We'll see what they can do with the team.
I mean, these are the type of moves you make when you have a good roster.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not looking necessarily for someone to be like the young innovator, which is, fine. But when you have a roster like they do, you kind of just need someone that's has a high floor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing that too across the league too, though, is that we mentioned the point where like continuity is a big thing to have a perennial winning team, and a lot of teams that were in the playoffs this year held on to their coordinators for the first time in a while.
Look at the Lions.
Yeah,
Ben Johnson.
Weren't the Washington on a plane to meet him, and then while they were in the air, they got the news. It was like, "Now he's staying."
Yeah. They either were en route to visit
He
him,
actually stayed,
or they had plans to get to Detroit that day.
Yeah.
So it's good to see. I think that's what the league needs. You got to have guys. It helps a coaching tree too, where like you don't see a lot of the. I'm tired of the whole like either Bill Belichick or Andy Reid coaching trees. Like, there's not a whole lot else out there where. It's nice to have some establishment. A lot of young coaches out there. I'm happy the Raiders kept their man. Like, it's good to see stability in the league so we can have good football. It just makes a better product, too, at the end of the day.
There was one hilarious. I don't know if it was the actual headline of the article or if it was just the way the tweet was worded. I think it might have been from Adam Schefter when they were talking about Ben Johnson deciding to stay in Detroit. And it said, Ben Johnson decides to stay with Detroit, citing wanting to win a Super Bowl. And it's just, it was just the most like backhanded thing. It's like, I think I'm going to actually try to win a Super Bowl and not go to Washington.
Yeah, it has a dumpster fire. But shout out Dan Quinn. I mean, the guy finds a way to be a head coach every couple of years.
See if he can get the job done this time and not blow a 25-point lead.
Their defense,
he made it to the Super Bowl at least, though.
Yeah,
Give him that.
Their defense will be... I don't know. That team's fucked up, so I don't even really... I hate that he's in the division, but yeah.
Chip Kelly for offensive coordinator.
Yeah, it looks like that might be happening.
That'll be hilarious. We'll have to get Marlon on the pod again.
Oh, yeah, for
Oh
sure.
boy, yeah.
You could get
Big
some more
Chip Kelly
Kelly
fan.
takes. Shout out Marlon. We know you're watching and listening.
Marlon, #1 Chip Kelly fan.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about the Super Bowl? No, I guess we can save the bulk of that for next week.
Yeah. I will say just on these playoffs in general, like, man, I feel like the thing that characterizes this playoffs the most is teams just fucking blowing it. Like, goddamn. Like, both of these teams just got in by other teams just completely fumbling the bag. I mean, San Fran should have lost to the Packers. They fucking blew it. The Ravens,
Detroit.
obviously, Detroit fucking blew it.
Yep.
Oh, that was sickening.
I called that
Just
shit, though,
horrible.
too, to be honest.
And then even in the AFC, well, obviously the Ravens didn't play well enough to win that game. They held KC scoreless the whole second half, and then you have that fumble, trying to dive into the end
Well,
zone.
Zay Flowers, the first thing he did was that taunting penalty.
I know, just shooting
Which
himself in the
taunting
foot
is
over and
bullshit
over.
anyway.
Taunting's corny, but you
It's stupid, but you gotta know.
You can't drop the ball on a guy and just loom over him like that.
I think that shit's fun.
But they're going to call that every
yeah.
time. I think it's fun,
I agree.
too.
I think they should allow it. Like, get rid of the taunting, get rid of the penalty for celebrating touchdowns, all that shit.
But
They should
he's
get rid of
gotta
it,
know
but it's like,
better.
you know how to know the rules, man.
It was some stupid poetic shit, though, that, like, KC almost lost that game, though, to that same exact play against Buffalo when they fumbled the ball through the end zone and got that turnover.
Yeah.
And then then they pretty much that won the game for them, really, honestly, at that
I don't
point.
know if it's just me but like it feels like that whole fumbling through the end zone for a touchback has happened more this year than I've ever seen before.
Happened with us. We got to play like that against Buffalo, I think, too.
Apparently, that rule's going to come under review this year, and they may make an adjustment to it.
I don't understand it. I mean, I get it, but I think that, I don't know. I mean, it's a shame that you lose a game. Like, we always thought, like, the biggest thing was, is it a catch?
Yeah.
But, like, the fucking fumble through the back of the end, like, I don't know. That shit's, did he have possession? I mean, there's so many things
It's not
that
even
have
through
to.
the back of the end zone. It can be off to the side
Anywhere.
once it's in the end zone.
Yeah, as long as you lose possession, but, like, then they don't review. I don't know. It's just a fucking bullshit
People
thing.
just gotta stop diving into the end zone. Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that's much easier said than done. You know, if you get the ball, your mind is like, I need to get there. But I mean, they would have. I mean, in the Ravens game, they would have had. That was a first down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess obviously if it's fourth down or third down, you're not going to go. Then sure, but you're going to have 3, maybe 4 downs to. I mean, probably 4 downs in that situation to
Also,
punch
too,
that
though,
in for the one. Like
Casey's defense, though, too, to be fair, has been lights out in the
That's
second
exactly
half.
what I was about to say,
They've only
yeah.
given up, maybe 10 points less than 10 points in total in the second half. Like, I didn't think their defense was that good this year, but
No, they've been
they've been really good, which is annoying. So, you know, you got Karlaftis on the side, you got him, you got Jones, you got McDuffie and all these other guys out there where they're a great defense. And you got Andy
Bolton,
Reid.
Gay. Their defense is nice.
Spags is out there still.
Yeah.
Like, you have a great coaching scheme there. It's just frustrating to see that you got San Fran and the Chiefs. It's like, I don't even give a shit who like, I don't care who wins this shit.
I have money on KC, as I know Trevor does
same.
too. So yeah,
I was very conflicted on that, and then I realized that I placed a couple bets on KC before the season started. I was like, all right, KC, let's go.
and
I just can't root for it though. Like, I'll watch. I'm excited to watch Super Bowl, but like, I'll root
for KC just because my disdain for the Niners is that fiery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Let's see
Well,
Andy Reid get
I
one
saw
more.
the way one person put it was that KC fans are already happy. They already have success. We don't need another fan base being happy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
especially the Niners.
Especially the Niners.
Yuck.
Yeah, that's true.
Although my mom is a Niners fan, shout out mom, but I don't want to see your team win. I'm sorry. But I think the other thing to take into account too is that the whole Pat Mahomes compared to like Tom Brady, Bill Belichick thing, this kind of reminds me of 2011 with the Giants and the Patriots, where as a Philly fan, you're conflicted
Very true.
because you're like, man, I really don't want the Giants to win, but also, or was it 07 the Patriots went were going undefeated?
One of the
Yeah, it
because
was-
they lost
yeah.
to him twice, so I think it was
I think
the
it was
earlier
7.
years.
07. It's
Yeah.
the 07, either or, but the 07, it's like, yeah, I don't want to see this cheating ass team set the
Yeah.
record. It's kind of like that. You have a really dislikable team in the 49ers, whiny, complainy. Kyle Shanahan, just a really punchable looking face.
Baby back bitch.
First, you have Pat Mahomes, who's just kind of annoying and obnoxious. Andy Reid, I don't really have a problem with Andy Reid.
I still love Andy Reid. That's why I'm like, I wouldn't mind if he got another one. Like, I think he's a phenomenal coach.
It's really just Mahomes, I guess. And that insufferable wife of his.
Oh,
Yeah.
she's bad.
So, like, yeah, you're kind of picking the lesser two evils, but at the end of the day, I got to root for the OG, Pat Mahomes Sr., man. You know, he's going to come out with a fat stogie if they win.
Smoking that Brock Purdy.
I'm smoking on that Brock Purdy. Coors Light in one hand, fat cigar in the other hand. It's Brock Purdy season. I'm smoking on that Brock Purdy. Yeah. He's the man.
He was kind of down on the field level, hanging out on the sidelines before the game started on Sunday. And you could just tell that he was trying to put off going into the booth with his family as long as he could.
Yeah.
He's like, that dude,
I want to hang out here, not with those people for as long as I possibly can.
Ugh. But it'll be a good game. Hopefully, you know.
I think it will be. Over-under is what? 47. The line's Niners plus or minus 2, which is surprising.
I think it opened up at 2.5, went down to 1.5, and then settled back at 2, I believe.
And there's still time for that to change, too.
But you get a whole another week still, yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We can talk more about it next week.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Travis Kelce now, or we want to save that?
We'll say that to the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So I guess we can talk about...
we can talk about
the
bad vibes or worse vibes.
I mean, I guess the worst vibes would be the Flyers.
Yeah.
Given the circumstances.
The Flyers vibes are darker. The Sixers vibes are sadder.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
At least there's no little hint of sexual assault, though, on the Sixers, too.
Yeah,
True.
There's nothing that grim.
Yeah, let's get the really grim vibes out of the way then.
So, Flyers.
They are who we thought they were.
5 in in a way.
Yo, that Boston game, did you watch any of that?
Yeah, I had it on.
I was like
after the
stuff.
alumni game.
I watched the first period.
Yeah,
I had to turn it off as soon as Boston scored their 5th goal.
Yeah,
I turned like a minute, or was it their 4th or 5th? I don't even remember.
I don't know.
I turned the game off like 2 minutes in the second period. Just like, I'm gonna find something better to do with my afternoon. This is BS.
Yeah, that shit was grim.
That was disgusting, dude.
it was not. They're back, baby. I don't know.
I do think there is something to be said for the fact that this Torts style of just blocking a ton of shots, playing hard, really just trying to get net front all the time, it grinds your guys down.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they have also played the most games out of anyone in the league, or at least tied for the most games.
And the schedule, they've played a pretty tough schedule, too.
Yeah, so it definitely wears on you. So, I don't know. And then, of course, Owen Tippett's out. So that sucks.
You also have to take into account the last couple of weeks. You have the Gauthier thing, which kind of galvanized the team to an extent.
Right? Because I mean, none of them really had any real relationship with him, and they got a new buddy with Drysdale coming in. So that was like kind of worked out okay for.
And the fans were all pumped up.
But it's
so
an
great
interference.
It's still just like some drama, some bullshit you don't need. Yeah.
And then we have the Carter Hart thing, which really just.
The locker room's got to be in a bit of a shambles here.
Right. I mean, the way that they've been playing lately, you have to, and the Carter Hart thing, you have to feel like that's related to some degree.
Absolutely.
Has to be.
Yeah. I mean, not that Carter Hart ever really struck you as sort of like a locker room leader type of guy. He seemed like sort of a quiet dude, but still, like, that's your goalie.
He's been with the franchise for a while.
Right. Yeah. And like, you're the goaltender. You're kind of just, whether you're that type of dude or not, you kind of just become one of the de facto leaders of the team because you play such an important position. And yeah, I mean, it's like if they win a game, the game's over. Who's the first guy everyone goes over to congratulate? It's the goalie,
right?
And then you find out about that shit, and it's like that has to weigh on you. It's hard, like, get all that news, all that shit, and then like, all right, go play a game now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been shouting with this guy for the last 3 months. Yeah, it can't be a good vibe up in there.
Yeah, it's not good.
You lose a top prospect. You lose one of your best players that have been playing this year and Tippett to an injury. Carter Hart shit hits. I mean, it's just, you can't really try to find the silver lining anywhere in that shit. You're just kind of like, it's like a swinging, like in batting where you get into a slump. Like there's nothing fixes locker room like winning does. And I don't know if this team has the capacity to kind of get over that hump. But it's a tough, they got dealt a shitty ass hand with that. You can't predict that shit where like your top prospect wants to leave. You're arguably one of your better goalies, has a horrendous fall from grace. And then one of your more, uptick players is now hurt. It's just a weird weird vibe.
The
going
timing
on
of
that
everything
place.
couldn't have been worse, and we're kind of just seeing the results of the timing of that being what it is in the play on the ice. I mean, Erson, he's kind of thrust in the spotlight now. For a while, Erson was kind of just chilling.
Yeah.
He was Carter Hart's 1B. Pressure wasn't really on him. If he had a bad game, he could shake it off. He has a bad game now, which that Boston game wasn't really his fault. The defense was ass in front of him. But if he has a bad game now or lets up a soft goal, here's where you see if he can handle the spotlight. If he lets up a soft goal, has a bad game, can he bounce back or not? The jury's still out, but I don't know, man. The Carter Hart thing puts them in a bad position in more ways than one. Now we're going to have to see Cal Peterson, what do you call it, Felix Sandstrom, or maybe they make a trade if they feel like, yeah, we can throw a fifth rounder at someone for a backup goalie that's better than Peterson.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I feel like they probably just stand with what they got, unless it just gets so bad that it gets so demoralizing or something, but I don't know. I mean, if I'm Danny Briere, I don't think I'm wasting any assets.
You can give up a fifth-round pick?
Yeah, maybe.
But here's the problem with playing chicken like that, though. Like, they were on such a moderately hot streak for a little bit, so they weren't aggressive at the top of like making a move or anything like that. Thinking, like, okay, we can like at least just ride this storm out. Then you get hit with all these things the last month or so. Well, now you're not really necessarily a fun spot too to like have someone be enticed to come play for you now. Like, the locker room's a little uneasy. You got some guys doing some weird shit. It just isn't as much of a fun spot to be in. You don't want to be the guy that comes in and has to fix this shit. Like, it's not. I don't know. There's no true like anyone at the helm, and I could be wrong here with that assumption, but I don't think anyone's really in this dark time of Flyers to be galvanizing the team. No one's really stood up to be anybody like that, from what I could tell.
Oh, I think they're more likely to sell than they are to buy and try to bring someone in to fix the culture.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already talked about Sean Walker's gone on PHLY Flyers. They've been talking about Scott Lawton. They were talking about him potentially going.
Yeah.
He hasn't really been playing great. You just signed Paling, who is kind of Scott Lawton, but younger and probably better at this point. So, I could see them flipping Lawton, Walker.
I mean, in hindsight, they probably should have traded Lawton last year.
That's what they were saying on PHLY today, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is what it is. I mean, you could get back. So, I mean, even though Lawton has not been very good this year, I feel like he's still pretty valued around the league. He has a pretty good reputation.
He's an intangibles and vibes guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Else.
If you're like if you're a contender down the stretch looking for someone to give your fourth line a spark, he's a good guy for that. So I could see them getting something for him. But yeah, I don't know. I guess don't really have anything else to say about the Flyers.
Well, no, we didn't talk about Tippett. He got an extension.
Oh, did we?
We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it last week.
8 years. He got it. He got it. I think we recorded last Wednesday. I think they signed an extension last Friday.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting here thinking that we talked about that last week.
8 years, $49 million.
I don't even know what day it is, everybody.
I mean, that's a lot to give a guy that hasn't really proven himself, but he was starting to prove himself before this injury, I think.
I think it's a pretty fair deal, and if he gets closer to his ceiling, I think it could look like a great deal when you consider that the cap's going to go up, and he has been playing really good. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, I think
lock those guys up now.
Tippett has top 6 upside. I think if he hits his ceiling, he's a first line guy, dude. I think. The way he played the last couple of weeks, if that's his ceiling and he can keep that up for the bulk of a season, that's one of your first line forwards right there. Yeah. So to get him and
he's still young, so I mean that deal's gonna. I mean he should still be pretty much in his prime towards the end of that deal.
Right. Yeah, to get him at a little over $6 million average annual value, like for first line guys, first line forwards are like $7 to $8 million players. You're getting kind of a bargain, as you said, as the cap rises. Inflation. No, we don't like to talk about inflation when it comes to millionaires, but it is what it is. It's going to be a thing.
Well, hockey millionaires, I feel like it's okay to talk about because they're not really getting paid.
They're still millionaires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from athletes' perspective, they're not getting paid. You know what I mean? Like, that's a long deal for really not
now
that much.
Now who's in favor of the millionaires?
Well, it is true that Like the best player in the NHL gets paid about as much as a role player in the NBA.
Right. That's all I'm saying.
True.
You know,
that's all I'm saying.
It is what it is. Still a lot of money.
Yeah. No doubt about it.
All right. Well, yeah, I felt like we had to mention that.
A little economic side chat there.
Had to shout that out. Did we do this before? Because the NHL All-Star games this weekend, we were just watching some Pro Bowl. Did we rank the All-Star games? I know we've done the drafts. Have we done the All-Star games?
I don't think so.
I don't think
they all are bad.
Now they're just I mean, there's only really one good one, I feel like.
I mean, baseball is the only one that's even like a real game.
Right. But it's baseball, so it's like...
But it's, yeah. I mean, honestly...
The hockey one's kind of cool.
Now they do the 3-on-3 thing. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's definitely better than it used to be. I still don't really watch it, to be honest with you. But
I definitely don't watch it, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, what's better than all of them is the home run derby. The home run derby is sick.
That's the best one. That's the best event. That's the best all-star event.
Like, the next time...
it's here in 2026 for the 250-year anniversary of the country. That's in 2 years.
Yeah.
Damn.
Dude, I will definitely be trying to get tickets for the home run derby.
Hell yeah.
Dude, we could probably just go stand outside CBP.
Yeah, to see if you can get some...
might be able to catch a dinger if someone hits it out of the park.
See, you gotta bring steroids back for that shit.
Hey, they might. You seen that stuff with the Russian Olympics? Or no.
Oh, I did see
a Russian skater got caught doping. But nah, the what do you call it?
The thing with Peter Thiel.
Yeah, what was the enhanced Olympics
games? The enhanced games.
Yeah,
I will watch that.
You'll be allowed to do
all the drugs.
Steroids.
I want to see someone all roided up, lifting like bench pressing 900 pounds.
Yeah. That's cool. I want to see that.
Yeah,
I've always said kind of as a joke that it'd be cool if they had the steroid Olympics, and now they're actually making it happen.
Russia's like, this is our moment, baby. This is it.
Yeah, Russia's probably gonna dope like crazy, dude.
Yeah, making up for all that,
all the hidden shit they've been doing. But yeah, man, home run derby, that's sick. 2 years. Is that when the World Cup comes here too? Is that?
I think it's all the same time.
Damn,
I think the NBA, something else is here. I think the NBA might be here that year too.
Fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yo, I went to when I was a kid. I went to NBA All-Star Weekend when I was in Philly in like 2002. That was cool as hell. My dad took me to Saturday night. We didn't go to the game. We went to the Saturday night. It was the dunk contest, the three-point shootout. Damn. I don't know if they had the skills competition back then. I got mad autographs. I got Steve Nash. He was just walking around like a normal person because he was like 6 feet tall, 170 pounds. So he kind of just blended in. He just walking around in sweats. I was like, yo, that's Steve Nash. I got his autograph. I got Kevin Garnett. I got some old-timey players, George Gervin. I got Ahmad Rashad. He used to do some NBA talk show. I got all autographs that weekend. I think I got like Mike Miller or something like that too. It was cool. All right,
fuck yeah.
So yeah, if that's back, granted the NBA All-Star Weekend's kind of meh, I would go to that
but
too.
There'll be some stars in town, which would be fun. Yeah.
And the other thing I'll say too, right, is did you see this year they're going to have Steph Curry and that girl from the WNBA,
I
Sabrina?
Did see that.
Sabrina's nice. I think she's going to win, dude.
I think so too. I was excited to see that. It's kind of cool to see like a little merge of the two worlds, but I'm into it. I like that shit. I do like the three-point competition. I think NBA is probably up there as the best all-around event for me from All-Star weekend, whatever they call it now, like whatever the fuck kind of shit they do. I think it's the most entertaining one.
Yeah, the dunk contest is pretty great.
Because you can have pretty isolated events where like you see someone's true talent, like the NFL shit, like dodgeball's fun and but it's shit that it's kind of just stupid. Like it doesn't really mean anything.
It's kind of just goofy.
Where like NBA, at least they're still doing shit. Like they're still playing basketball in a way, like doing fun shit that everybody else does, like playing horse essentially, like shit like that. It's kind of cool. Like the little obstacle course and shit like that. It's kind of nice. Baseball is boring as fuck. Hockey's all right with the 3-on-3, but I think the NBA's got probably the best event weekend of all the All-Star games. Teams, I should say.
Yeah, that's tough for me. I looking forward to the NBA. If they do integrate women in the three-point shootout, and they should do it the skills competition too, quite frankly. That'll be cool. Next year, they got to have Caitlin Clark in there shooting threes from half court, man. She's bonkers,
This could probably be like the first stage for that. I'm sure they're opening up for her. She's been hitting shit from the fucking logo for the last 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, Sabrina Ionescu, like, I didn't really follow college women's basketball, but she was kind of Caitlin Clark before Caitlin Clark became a thing. Caitlin Clark just takes it to the next level. So, like, I'm kind of excited to see as they start to get women involved. I'm a big I'm becoming a big WNBA guy. It's WNBA free agency right now. I've been following it a little bit, yo.
Oh, yeah.
WNBA is where it's at, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Got to bring a team here, man.
Yep, that's next. That's next. Josh Harris, if you're listening to this,
When they build that arena.
stop buying football teams. Stop buying rival
bring a
hockey
WNBA.
teams. Create a Philadelphia WNBA team. You're going to have that arena over there. Not going to be using it for 4 months during the summer. Be perfect. We could have the Philadelphia Bells. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
That's good. I like that.
I like that a lot. Damn. You've been thinking about this for a minute.
That was just a random thought. The name was a random thought. The team has been on my mind for a while.
The name, I'm not going to lie, is very good. I like that. Philadelphia Bells.
Well, hey, once they become a thing, if that's their name, I got to get some royalties. Let's go.
Yeah, man. Get that meeting set up with Josh Harris.
Yep.
So speaking of basketball,
Oh,
our Sixers. Whoo, boy.
I don't even know where to begin with this.
Yeah, we are back here again.
Every year, man.
well, it's not like we didn't see this coming. It should be to no surprise. But like any true Philadelphia team, when you don't have expectations, they kind of get you back into being like, okay, we could be doing pretty good. Then they fucking pull right out under your feet whenever they want. And this is that moment where, bang, they just brought us back down to reality right here.
Just when I was back in, they pull me back out.
Exactly.
So-
That's what just happened.
I mean, I guess it's worth really looking at this from the timeline. You know, so this all started over a month ago when Embiid was playing against the Knicks, bangs his knee.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, or not for whatever reason, plays in that game to extend the 30-10 streak, then sits out a week. It's his left knee.
Right.
Messes it up. Excuse me. So then he sits out a week. Comes back, balls his ass off, probably averages 40 points a game in the games he plays, has the 70-point game. We're riding high. This time last week, we're thinking, man, this could be it.
We're back,
Doc
baby.
Rivers is the Bucks coach. We're coming for that 2 seed. Everything's going well. This could be the year, blah, 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 blah. Trade deadline, we're going to make some moves. And then literally the very next game, bangs that knee again against the Pacers.
Which was a weird thing to see because it didn't look like it was that hard of a hit in that game. But it was very. Then he was down. I'm like, whoa, he didn't like. Usually he bounces back, like he'll lay down, but but then he gets back up.
Well, I'm going to get to that.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, then that happens. Then things get weirder. So he finishes that game, keeps his 30-point streak alive, whatever. They get blown out. Then Saturday comes, leading up to the game, the showdown against Jokic. He's not on the injury report. All indications are that he's going to play. Then an hour before the game, Tyrese Maxey's out. Tobias is out.
Yeah.
Then literally 5 minutes before the game, Embiid's out. So then the Nuggets fans, these fraudulent ass bitch ass fans, man, they take to the arena. Where is Embiid at?
Which I think is funny as shit, I will say.
But he was actually hurt.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, he sits out the game against Portland. They get rolled again, get destroyed. Then Embiid's after, I don't know what it was, if it's a combination of the 65-game thing, the media coming at him saying he's soft, the Sixers are on a losing streak, they fall in the 5th place in the East. It's probably a combination of all those things. He tries to force himself to play Tuesday. I was out the first half of the game. I come back to watch the second half and see video of him just running and trying to jump to block a shot and just falling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was
It's
brutal.
like, what the hell is he playing for? So the Sixers mishandled this situation really from that Knicks game where they let him play, brought him back in all the way till now. And it was just karma for him to injure the knee even more when Kuminga falls on it. They shouldn't have played him in that game. It was negligence for the entire month leading up to it. Should have given him more time off. Yes, I understand the 65-game thing. MVP is important. You know what's more important? Him being healthy and giving us the best chance at a high seed in the playoffs, giving us the best chance to win in the playoffs. Now we just blew it all.
Yeah, I mean, I think you put it very eloquently. I mean, there's nothing really else to put on that. I mean, it's just another year of Embiid having a phenomenal start of the season. The team gets all kind of revved up. You're floating in that 3 seed, potentially getting 2 or 3, whatever. And Embiid, again, the story of him going to be hurt for the next couple of games, couple of weeks. He'll be probably banged up now until the rest of the season because they never give him enough time to recuperate. And to your point, whether that's the Sixers organization rushing him back, whether that's him with his ego trying to get back and playing, nothing beats healthy Embiid. When Embiid's healthy, the dude is arguably the best player in the NBA at some points. And I don't know, you would think that like you do something enough fucking stupid, you would realize, oh wow, okay, this is going to work out. Where they haven't quite learned that. Even him hasn't learned that, which makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to literally his rookie season, that first year he plays, 2017, where he starts playing, he plays about 30 games, has a bad fall. They bring him back in a game. He sits out several games. The next game's on national TV. They play him. Then he's out for the rest of the season after that. And it's just the negligence from the medical staff, regardless of who's been the GM, who's been the coach. I mean, think about it. We went from Sam Hinkie was the GM, to Colangelo, to Elton Brand for a little bit, to Daryl Morey. We went from, who are we calling? Brett Brown, Doc Rivers, now Nick Nurse. The guys in charge have changed. The medical staff, they've had the same head athletic trainer, Kevin Johnson, for years. And Embiid's been here for years. And just the medical staff has done him no favors, and I don't think he's done himself some favors. It's just, man, like, I hate to say it, I think his career is just going to be one of those tragic careers that just never amounts to a championship. I hope I'm wrong. It's time to prove me wrong, but not much, right? He turns 30 this year.
Yeah.
He ain't young no more, man. 30 in the NBA, especially for a guy that big, is old. So, I don't really give them much time.
Yeah, it almost seems like the only way it's going to work is if he, if he just gets injured early in the season and does all this early enough so that he just comes
like training
back
camp
at the right time. Yeah, it's just bad. You have to go into it knowing that he's going to get injured at some point. Hopefully it's not at the end of the season during the playoffs, but obviously that's extremely unlikely because if you're playing the whole season, I don't know, man. It sucks.
I also think this whole conversation about like the 65 game restraint MVP, you ripped the Band-Aid off last year. He won the MVP last year outright, and that's cool. I feel like this year we're supposed to focus on him just trying to get the team to be a championship caliber team, and we could forget about the MVP shit. Yeah, if he won back to back, would that be great? Yeah, it's great. I love Embiid. But like at the end of the day, doesn't do shit for anybody. I don't give a fuck if he wins MVP 4 or 5 more times. If we don't win a championship or can get out of the second round of the playoffs, it really doesn't matter. And that's we're in the same thing over and over again, which is like the expectation of Sixers fans for that. We're tired of seeing it happen where we get to, now we go into the playoffs. We'll probably get Embiid back in, a week or two, probably too soon. He'll have a couple great games. We're like, okay, he looks fine. And then something happens in the first round of playoffs where we sneak by, we win the first round.
He gets injured in the first round again.
And then they hide that shit. He's like, something doesn't look right, or he's like limping a little bit. Then he misses the first 2 games of the second round, and then bang, just like that, we're out again. It's like, it's just so it's just like the Eagles' offense being stagnant. Like, it's so frustrating to see this happen year after year. And to your point, his prime is now. You're watching, like, he's not going to put up numbers like this. I mean, we said that last year too, but I can't see it happening unless, to your point, Trevor, he gets hurt like at the beach in the summertime, and then he's out until like a month into the year. I don't see him doing. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah, what they have to do is fake an injury.
Yeah,
say that he tore his ACL or something. Just have him be sitting out all summer, come back around Christmas or something. Then we'll be all right.
Something.
Honestly,
it's just sad to see, and I don't think it's going to be I don't think he'll, if he never wins the championship, I don't think Embiid's career would be labeled as a tragedy or whatever you said.
Yeah, they'll just be like what could have been.
I think it'd be one of those things where, like, I mean, look at like a Dan Marino, like never won a Super Bowl, or people like that never won a championship, and that's fine.
Yeah, a lot of great players.
He'll be one of the all-time greats to ever play, and I think he's definitely helped revolutionize the center position just in terms of what he's been able to do. But yeah, I mean, he'll always have the Jokic over his head. We're like, well, he won. He's back-to-back
like
MVP.
AI with Kobe.
Exactly. But like, no one's gonna, once he's 60 years old and people don't, they're like, oh yeah, Embiid was one of the best. But like now, the media just fucking hounds his ass. But I don't think they understand too that, like your point, he's 7 foot fucking whatever he is. He's a massive unit of a man at center and doing things that some point guards aren't doing or something. Like it's a shame, really, is what it more is than a tragedy. It's just sad to see that, again, we're here where Embiid's hurt late in the season, playoffs are coming up, and he's not going to be healthy when it matters.
Yeah.
And that's his whole career.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, my thing, like we talked about the knock and knees thing, I said I would get to that. It's just that, yes, knocking knees with someone hurts. I totally understand that. I've done it before. Certainly not at an NBA level, but just messing around playing football, playing basketball, I've definitely done it. Yes, that hurts. But that was the thing that triggered all of this is kind of concerning. It shouldn't be something that triggers a month-long thing where your knees swell.
But it's
swollen.
not like it's a virgin knee that's never been hurt. His knees have been
always, which is my point, right? It's just how much more can you rely on someone that is just, I don't want to say is that fragile, but is that injury prone? So some of the injuries in the playoffs, yes, they're freak accidents. When he runs into he runs his face into Markel's shoulder. That's a freak accident. When Pascal Siakam elbows him in the face, not necessarily a freak accident. I think that's
Dirty
Pascal
move.
Being an asshole.
Yeah.
But it's not something that, it's
not
not
a
a
wear
soft
and
tissue
tear
injury.
Yeah.
But the spraining his knee last year in the playoffs, kind of a freak accident, kind of, you would hope that doesn't happen. You would hope he can do something to avoid it. When he had the shits, can't really do anything about that year. But
yeah.
He could use one of those Santa butt plugs.
True. Yeah, he should have hit Santa up. But anyway.
Come on, you didn't think I was going to say that? Come on, we just said that last week.
But yeah, some of these injuries, man, it's just like, these aren't freak incidents.
Fine for illegal equipment.
The other times he tore his meniscus 1 year in the playoffs.
I think that was the Hawks.
The Hawks series tore
Yeah.
meniscus. 2017, a torn meniscus. It just, after a while, man, it's just like, he's just too injury prone.
Because he plays a small man. He plays like a small man, but at a large size. Like, he plays so aggressive.
But he hasn't even been doing that this year. He knocked knees twice, and then, dude falling on
but the knees aren't... My point was that, like, his knees aren't... they don't have that much knee knocking in him anymore.
But the other thing is, I was going to say, a dude falling on his knee, you can't
that
really
shit
do
was
a whole
fucked
lot
up.
about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, that's just an unfortunate, chain of events there.
But that, like, all of this has happened year after year after year for the last 7 years. Literally just about every season. It's too much. I got this article pulled up from Mike O'Connor, used to write for The Athletic, writes for the Rights Ricky Sanchez. I'm not going to read the whole article. I'm going to read this last paragraph, which is pretty damning. Joel Embiid's talent and production as a basketball player are undeniable. I think the world of him as a regular season player. I have a great deal of admiration for his story and a great deal of empathy for all of the misfortune, injury, and otherwise he's undergone during his career. And yet, I find myself wanting to sit on the sidelines at the current moment when it comes to sticking up for his reputation as a player. I just keep waiting for the day that advocating for him doesn't feel like such a chore, an exercise in hypotheticals and excuse making. I'd consider myself to mostly be an Embiid centrist by this point, having relocated from once being extremely pro Embiid. My ironclad certainty from pre-2023 that Embiid would make his run in the playoffs has turned into, I don't know, we'll see. In the meantime, I'll remain on the sidelines as truly some of the most insane debates on an athlete take place on a daily basis. So that's kind of where I'm at, man.
Yeah, I think that sums it up pretty well.
We'll see what happens, but I don't really have expectations. I
at this
feel
point, we
bad
don't
for the
really
guy.
know how long he's going to be out for, depending on if he needs surgery and what kind of surgery. It could be weeks or it could be months.
Could be the season.
Yeah.
But
we shall
Well, now
see.
it's a test to Nick Nurse. We'll see what he does.
and our All-Star, Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah, shout out to Maxey.
First got named to his first All-Star team. He's had a great season. Sucks that he's going to have to carry the team, but hopefully he can keep us afloat long enough for the big guy to come back. The other thing I wanted to get to, is trade deadline. Apparently, Brian Windhorst was saying this the other day before news came out that Embiid's injury was a torn meniscus. He was saying that all reports he's receiving are that the Sixers will still be active at the trade deadline. And then, y'all ain't ready for this. Kendrick Perkins,
I heard about
he was
this.
just kind of just talking out his ass a little bit, as he tends to do. But I love Kendrick Perkins. But anyway, he said that the Sixers should trade for Jimmy Butler.
I heard that. Yeah.
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 It's a nice thought, but
I'm not ready to get hurt again. I feel like I've exhausted my tank of.
I would do that.
I would, but I'm just gonna let that go. If it happens and I wake up one day, it's like going to school, like the day before a big snow day, right? You hear all the news the day before. When you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, I might have off tomorrow. I might not have to go to school because we're going to get 3 inches of, whatever inches of snow. Then you wake up because you think about it all night and you didn't get any snow, so you had to go back to school. But the nights that you just don't think about it, like you go to bed, you prepare to go to school, you wake up, there's 2 feet out. You're like, nice, I'm off today. This is like how that feels. It's like, yeah, it'd be great. But will it happen? I don't know.
I think the Heat might have to sell, man. They lost 7 games in a row. They're bad this year. Everyone else on that team is young except Jimmy Butler. He's like 34.
Scary Terry's like, yeah, man, his Heat mentality is different. That they just ship out Jimmy Butler. That'd be hysterical.
That'd be great.
Yeah. No, I
would
trust
bring
me.
Jimmy back. A Tyrese and Jimmy team. You get Tobias's bum ass out of here and I'd give up a couple first round picks. Jaden Springer, Tobias, so you can match contracts.
Mo
Bring
Bamba.
Jimmy in here. Yeah, throw him in the deal. Jimmy and Tyrese would carry us till Embiid came back, and then playoff Jimmy, man. Playoff Jimmy comes in, Embiid can just be a passenger in the bus, dude.
yeah, it's true.
I mean, yeah.
I thought Perk was just making it up, but I was like, oh, that makes a ton of sense. And you can line the contracts, so you can line the value up.
It makes sense. Could it happen? 100%. Will it happen? I'm not. The team is just not performing enough to me get excited about a potential move like that could happen. If Embiid wasn't hurt right now, I'd be like, oh my God, yeah, fucking do it. So have the team.
I think that Embiid's hurt is why you have to do it.
All right, well, hey.
I don't know.
I would put a shot bet on
I
this
wouldn't
if
be
they get
against
Jimmy
it
Butler.
for sure, but
Well, hey, we got trade deadline next Thursday.
I'll put
if we
2
record
shots.
next Thursday, I'll do 2 shots if he's not a Sixer. You'll
I'll do 2
2
shots if
he
he
is
is a Sixer. Fine. Cheers.
Next Thursday, we'll see.
yeah,
I think that's everything I got on the Sixers, though.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Has
right.
to be. Hey, I mean, B-Ball Paul had a great game, but
But B-Ball Paul's been hooping.
Yeah.
I tried to pick him
that's
up
why
in
you
fantasy.
didn't get rid of Mo Bamba. Why did we get Mo Bamba? Never mind. I'll get into it next week.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't need to. We
I
don't
don't
need to
wanna get on
spend
a
too much
tangent
time
about
on
Mo
Mo
Bamba.
Bamba.
I don't want to spiral. No, I'm not spiraling on him. I'm just spiraling on just the coaching right now.
The one thing I'll say about him is the least skilled NBA player that ever have a song named after him.
Weird looking dude too. Weird man.
Oh, I'm not coming at his looks. I'm coming at his skill. But
I'm
he's
coming at him.
way better than I am. He's probably better looking than we are too, though. If we're being
Nah,
honest.
he better hope he doesn't hurt a fucking finger before next week too, because I'll be all over him.
All right.
Oh man. So we want to talk about some Stephen A. news.
Yeah, let's get the
Fuck
vibes
yeah.
up.
Yeah, we got some.
Stephen A. I'm not gonna lie, has entered the fold of one of my more favorite people, just
Oh, yeah.
sports commentators ever.
I mean, I've always been a fan, but he's just been on a new level since he has his own little podcast here.
Oh, yeah.
But here he is answering a pretty important question.
At Randy_Vision writes, which one are you taking?
These are Pokemon.
Okay. He's what the hell are these? What are these? Bulbasaur? Bulbasaur? Whatever the hell it is? Charmander? Or the Squirtle? These are Pokemons, I guess that's what it is. I'm going to say... You know what I'm going to say? Charmander.
Shaman.
That's who I would take. Because it reminds me of me because of the forehead. That's what I'm going to go with. Okay?
The fact that he put the close up too of the head in
Yeah.
Charmander,
It's good production
Same
right
forehead.
that shit was hysterical. Oh my god!
there. So now you got to play the
I
next
really
one.
would have thought he
Yeah.
would have went with Squirtle. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Something just led me to
Well, I
believe
think-
that.
originally that was kind of the easiest one to pick, right? Was Squirtle.
I just figured
Most
he would
people
be.
pick Squirtle when we were like younger. Yeah.
I just felt like he would have. I don't know.
Well, I feel like
he
he was the easiest one to start with because isn't the first gym the Rock Gym?
Nah, Bulbasaur was the easiest because the first gym's the Rock Gym. Then
I
you
thought-
got the Water Gym.
Okay, I thought that. I guess I haven't played Pokemon in a long
Oh,
time.
I've played every game for
well,
30
I know
years.
you know about more of this
Yeah.
than I do, but I thought that water was good against rocks.
Oh, it is, but so's grass.
Grass as well.
But grass is also good against water, which was the second gym. But the problem is, see, I know these things. The problem is, right, later in the game, Venusaur's butt, dude.
Yeah.
Because the last gym's fire, the second to last gym's fire, the sixth gym's poison. Grass isn't good against poison. The seventh gym's fire. Obviously, that's not a good match. Grass is going to get its ass kicked.
Yeah.
The eighth gym is ground, so you kind of have an advantage, but Venusaur's just kind of ass. So yeah, you would start good with Bulbasaur, you would end weak.
I
But
think
then,
Bulbasaur is who I used the first time I played.
oh,
it.
Bulbasaur is my favorite growing up. But now that I'm an older man, I'm more seasoned.
Now that you've seen some
I'm
shit.
like Charmander,
Older and wiser.
and then I'm
Know
like
these things.
the evolved form of Charmander. We're talking, me and Stephen A. We're on the same vibe there. You got to play that one next.
Yes, then a few days later.
At More 33 Gaming Rights, you pick the starters. Now pick the final forms. This is Pokemon right here, by the way. I'm going to say to you, you know what? I kind of like Charizard. The fire on the tail, the wings, he can fly.
Good
The
points.
claws on his feet, he could use that as a weapon. He's not as limited as Blastoise or Venusaur. I'm going to go with Charizard. I'm going to go with that.
See, he's right though.
Great analysis too. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's
Great
really solid analysis. He's right on every point.
He
In
said
the-
air, ground, flame.
Dude, in the games, Charizard can fly, so he's got an advantage there. He's got that flame. He's got strong claws. He's got high
The
attack, good
tails with that
speed.
flame whip.
Yeah, Charizard's always the one you
Yeah.
want to end with.
Oh yeah,
I always just remember Charizard as being the most cherished Pokemon card.
it was
from
cool.
back in the
Yeah.
day. That was the one.
Yo, I had the Charizard second edition.
Did you? I never got one.
I remember the day I got it. I gave it to.
Did you?
I,
Cool.
I
Never
never-
got one.
I gave it
never
to
got
my
it.
nephew,
Thanks everybody.
and I don't know what
Fucking
happened.
Moby Dick over
Many of
here.
your Christmases were ruined. I never got that card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had that card now. It'd probably be worth a couple $100, but I gave it to my nephew, and that was that.
Yeah, fucking Pokemon cards, man. That was crazy. I remember waking up early in the morning and calling Toys R Us to ask them if they had them in stock, and then if they did, and if they did, I'd be like, Dad, they have them. We gotta go. I was just like, man,
It was cute. My nephew just asked for a Pokemon card this Christmas, and I was like, damn. But buying them,
Yeah, kids
like,
still love them.
getting them now, there's a lot of different things out there.
Yeah,
now
there's
to get,
like
too.
800 Pokemon
yeah,
now.
Very
Yeah.
confusing. I was like, well, this is a lot. I've been out of the game for a minute here. This is interesting, but it was cute. I'm like, hell yeah, at least someone's keeping it going a little bit here.
Yo, I bet you I can name all 150 Pokemon.
God,
yeah, I bet
I
you
won't do
could.
it.
We're not gonna do that now.
I won't do it on the pod. I would never do that on the pod.
You can start your own little side podcast if you want to do that, but
Yo, I'm gonna do it. It's like, nah. I
yeah,
won't.
you can. If you record yourself doing that from memory, then we can. I'll put it out on the feed.
yeah.
I might have to do that then. We'll see. But anyway, we can move on from
Yeah.
that topic.
So, in political news,
Yeah, speaking of evolving to
Yeah, we're talking
the final,
politics on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
the final form of maggot people.
oh yeah. So, I don't even know how to get into this. There's been some theories going around, some well-reasoned, interesting, logical theories.
All logical.
Yeah, just people noticing patterns and putting two and two together. You know, nothing wrong with that. That Taylor Swift and, of course, by extension, Travis Kelce are government psyops that have been deployed to re-elect Joe Biden.
Deployed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, so, I mean, here's disgraced BuzzFeed journalist Benny Johnson, who's pretty much just like a Ben Ben Shapiro guy now. This is what he had to say about this.
And the way you do that is by taking the most brain dead, low information voters, of course I'm talking about Swifties, Taylor Swift fans sort of
You
worship
guys all have
this
squeaky voices.
artist. Kind of like
Probably like
at
Common
all
pattern.
five
right?
too.
Like just out
Yeah.
of the blue, suddenly
Scrawny
Taylor
bitches.
Swift's the most famous person on earth. Now she's at every
Suddenly.
NFL game with her boyfriend, who's backed by Bud Light and Pfizer. Travis Kelce is this guy who also kind of
He's
out
still
of the
mad
blue
about
became
Bud Light.
big-time celebrity, really rich, really powerful. Why? He's a tight end. He's like a glorified lineman. That doesn't make any sense. Tight ends aren't famous people in football. What are you talking about? What world are we living in? Sure seems planned. Sure seems like something that is like
Exactly.
concocted in order to accelerate the fame of these two people, get them to the Super Bowl, the largest screens on earth, get maybe like a proposal after the game. This is what I think is going to happen. There's going to be like some type of proposal after the Super Bowl is rigged for the Chiefs.
They've been
And
dating
then
for what,
the two of
6
these
months?
people
If
become
that, a little bit more than that,
reach
because
like
I don't
in
think so.
secrecy
crazy
for a
levels
minute,
of
too.
absolute fame, and then they take all that fame that has been given to them by the rotted corporate press, media, entertainment industry.
He said out of the blue. First off,
Yeah, I don't
you
think I have to
have
watch this. Like, but dude, I love this. I think my favorite thing about this is how, all these guys, half the time they're just ranting and raving about like the deterioration of traditional masculinity in America. Now, men are all just these emotional soy boys now and this and that. And then this guy just goes on a 2-minute rant where he just displays that he knows nothing about football.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he
tight ends.
doesn't-
They're not a crucial
no
part
one's,
of
no
the
one's,
NFL.
yeah, there's never been a famous tight end before, like Rob Gronkowski.
Shannon
does it.
Sharp,
Yeah.
yeah, Shannon Sharp, Gonzalez. I mean,
Yeah.
you kidding me?
Greg Olson,
Yeah.
killing
Yeah,
it.
and like Travis Kelce has been one of the best for years now.
Gronkowski literally was
He's
the
on all
most
commercials.
famous person. Like the guy was before Kelce blew up, and then Kelce
Yeah.
now is all over every State Farm. Before he was dating fucking Taylor Swift, and he
Yeah.
said out of the blue for both of them.
I know.
Like,
Yeah.
like the
Like
NFL.
Taylor Swift
Taylor
hasn't been a
Swift's-
successful musician for
She's
15
been one of the
years.
most famous people on earth for like 15 years.
Damn. And the funny thing is too, all like the MAGA people are like, well, when she was mad at the people that originally owned her music rights to Soros, and she called them out, we thought we had her, but now she just sold out, and now she's a crazy lib. If this is what's the problem with these people is that like you have a woman and just a lovely relationship of two people that fell in love, whatever. Okay, one person is a billionaire musician, one's arguably the most famous tight end and one of the top 5 most famous people in the NFL right now. They got a relationship. That's okay. We gotta run them in the mud for what? What that makes
Yeah, what
no
are you mad
sense.
for that they're happy?
Right. All she said was you should register
Jealousy.
to vote. You should register to vote. That's all she said. She didn't say. She didn't put a hat on and say anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just, oh man, it's ridiculous.
Trevor, you're right. It is jealousy. All these dudes are like
Yeah.
5'2". They talk like this.
Yeah.
And like Taylor Swift's like this
Yeah.
beautiful 5'11", 6 foot woman, really talented, has a whole career, like has more success than these guys will ever experience.
Yeah.
And they're just coming at her.
This is another one that was funny. This is from OAN,
God.
which is basically like the news network that you would see in some dystopian sci-fi
Yeah, I know what
movie.
it is.
The
Yeah.
Like,
Verge. Yeah.
it seems like a parody sort of thing. Like it's like if like the news that you would see in like V for Vendetta or like one of those type of things. And there's I don't even know who this woman is. I don't know who any of these people are. Allison something. Here's what she had
America's
to say
pop
about
star
this.
celebrity sweetheart joins forces with the top dog in the NFL, playing for the team that's going to the Super Bowl. I mean, let's be real here. This is bread and circuses on steroids. Major League Sports, in and of itself, is nothing but a psyop. Get kids plugged into the cycle of going to public indoctrination camps,
Preach, sister.
playing sports for their school, and going to games. Many end up devoting their entire childhood to competing in various sports, only to be cut from the team, at which point they become brainwashed into supporting professional teams because they know their dreams of becoming a pro athlete will probably never happen. So then they become obsessed with
damn
some
right.
grown man who gets paid millions of dollars every year to throw a ball around while promoting poison death shots and child slave labor through various brand deals and endorsements. So sad. Imagine being so brainwashed by sports, you actually show up to your team stadium to shovel snow for free so you can watch a bunch of grown men who are
They got
overpaid
paid for
to
that.
tackle each other.
Misinformation.
So
Fake
you
news.
go trudging through 3 feet of snow amid a massive blizzard just to watch a game? Yeah, sorry, you couldn't pay me to do that.
That
Just
sounds
imagine for
fun
a
as
moment if
hell.
people
Clearly,
were as
this-
dedicated to Jesus as they are professional sports. I think the country might look pretty different if that were the case. But sadly, as we know, it's not. And perhaps that's why we're
If this
witnessing the
country was
crumbling
that
and
dedicated to
degradation of our
Jesus-
once great nation. Instead, all we seem to care about are the celebrities and athletes propped up by the Hollywood elites and this ongoing theater, this fake, carefully crafted show that the masses have been hypnotized by and can't seem to turn off.
It's
Yo,
very-
she needs to get laid.
She needs-
LAID, dude. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude, it's funny to me too because this is kind of going back to when we were a while back when we were talking about the Bud Light thing. How like
Hell
these
yeah.
people are just going to run out of things to be mad about, and the fact that now they're just sports are bad.
Isn't their
You know, you
base
can't-
built off of just cheap beer and watching
And
people
yo,
play football?
these are the
That's
same people
it.
that boycotted the NFL because of Kaepernick. Now they're
Right.
finding another reason to be mad at the NFL.
Yeah,
She's
And of
clearly
course they're all still
never
watching it.
seen.
But
I mean,
it's so funny because now these sort of right wing traditional whatever you want to call them people are basically come back around to what you would typically associate with like kind of like weepy liberal people where they're like, yeah, sports are meaningless. And, man,
Yeah.
it's just a game. Why are you watching grown men run around in a field and you're paying money to it? Like I feel like we're gonna see tweets from Ben Shapiro and those type of
Oh my
guys
God.
next
Just a
Sunday
matter of
being like,
time.
I'm about to watch the superb owl. Like they're gonna be doing that kind
it's
of
so
shit.
fucking
They're
stupid.
not going to watch it, but
Yeah,
It's so
Is
stupid.
there a sports ball happening?
they're going to be
That's
tweeting
the
about
right-
the Puppy Bowl.
Yeah. That's now the right wing position, which is so funny.
Yeah, until a Chihuahua scores a touchdown, then they'll be all fucking losing their mind.
Like, oh, send him back to Mexico.
It's
Yeah.
just, it's
I also just love thinking about the idea of Travis Kelce being recruited by intelligence agencies to be some kind of psyop or whatever. Just imagining, Travis Kelce being kidnapped and taken to some CIA black site in the middle of nowhere with a bag over his head, and just shadowy voice that you can't see.
It's like,
just
what kind of
telling them
State
that he
Farm
has to-
commercial is this right now?
Yeah.
They're like, no, hold on now.
It's like you need to start going out with Taylor Swift. It's like, whoa.
Coach Reed, is that you?
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
man.
It's, I mean, mind-boggling that it's got out of hand this much. I mean, like, I will say that I was on the train of like, man, I don't give a shit if Taylor Swift's at the game, only for the sense of that, like, I didn't really care if she was watching her boyfriend play football. I didn't really give a shit if she was there or not. I didn't feel this passionately about that. Now I'm like, these people are getting out of hand here. This is crazy. This makes no sense.
Yeah.
This is like wild.
Yeah, like, I'll admit, when I watch a game and I see her 7-8 times during the course of a game, I'm thinking, yeah, that's probably a little much. But I'm not sitting there screaming that she's a psyop and this is just a plan to
No,
brainwash
it-
people
It
to go
doesn't,
against
it doesn't
Trump.
affect my day-to-day life. I go, they play the Chiefs. They show Taylor Swift like 4 or 5 times. I'm
I mean,
like,
she should be treated like a regular fan,
Yeah,
just
I'm
like
like,
us. She would
it's-
probably prefer that,
right.
quite
I'm
frankly.
like, that's annoying.
Yeah.
Not only for me, but like gotta be for her
I
too,
mean,
because she can't
the
just be
other-
slamming beers and hanging out like with everybody else. I feel
she
bad.
can't be
she's
like
gotta
Jason Kelce.
I feel bad that she's got to hang out with fucking Pat Mahomes' wife. But
The
oh,
other-
you know,
yeah. Oh.
that's got to be brutal.
I mean, the other like hilarious thing about it too is that of all of the celebrities and people that you could go after, they have to go after Taylor Swift, who's, I mean, if you're, as far as like artists and musicians and stuff, if you're someone who's like somewhat transgressive or, trying to put on some air of being rebellious or something, like there's always going to be some kind of conservative backlash to that. Like that's been going on since forever. But I mean, Taylor Swift is like, her whole vibe is like what I would call like aggressively unoffensive. Like it's just the most like
Yeah.
neutral, unoffensive, trying to please as many people as possible. Completely.
She hasn't
like,
done anything wrong
Not
per
someone
se in her
you
whole
would not
career.
describe her as edgy.
No,
or
hell no.
Yeah.
or transgressive or anything like that, and they're still just like, nope, this isn't good either.
Well, apparently she said "let's fucking go" at the game on Sunday, and people did not like that at all. So she's starting to enter her offensive girl era.
Well,
and they got a problem with that.
At like the age of 35
with
or
the
whatever.
people that have never, with a base that is presumably loves football and shit like that. People cursing at football games is like an innate thing that happens. You watch a sport, you're passionate,
She's
you yell
been
some
indoctrinated officially now. Good for her.
Only gripe I had with her really is that I'm not a big fan of the music, but also like fraud-ass Eagles fan. Like, let's just call this bitch out for what she is. Bullshit. I don't want to ever see her with a fucking Eagles jersey. That's the only thing I got. I don't give a shit anything else about that.
She's from Reading.
Yeah, but she... I mean, she was here for the concert. She was
claimed,
all like,
she claimed
I'm an Eagles
fandom.
She identifies as an Eagles fan.
Then why are you mad? Because she's wearing a Chiefs jersey now?
Yeah. Hello? What?
Her boyfriend plays for the Chiefs.
I'm just saying. That's my only gripe I got. It's an okay gripe to have. That's all I'm saying. Don't be fucking, changing sides now like that shit. If I was her, if you were
I don't care one way or the other.
Nah, time out now. If you were a true sports fan, like she claimed she was, you should be wearing that other Kelce jersey to the game as a joke. You know what I mean? To your boyfriend. But
and she's rocking his gear. I can't be mad about that.
I'm not mad. I'm not ready to fucking get all up in arms about it. But you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, here's what our boy Charles had to say.
If you're screaming at the Swift saying she ruined her, you're just a loser. You're just a loser or a jackass. You can be A or B.
One of the two.
One of the two.
You know what? When it comes to the Super Bowl, where a lot of people who don't watch football all year long double the audience, even of the conference championship games.
Love that man.
Part of that is the halftime entertainment.
Yes.
Huge part of it is the commercials.
Yes.
So for people all of a sudden, because they don't like something about Taylor Swift, either they don't like the Chiefs or they've inferred that Taylor Swift might not be a Trumper, then they're annoyed by Taylor Swift. I can guarantee you that all this news on Fox News would not be happening if she was wearing a MAGA hat. Yeah. They would love it.
Oh.
Hell yeah,
but
Bob.
look at all the new
Bob
people
Costas,
she's brought to the
Bob's the
NFL.
man.
You
The
see
mic
young
drop,
teen girls who are now watching football.
And it's hard
For
to
the first
imagine
time.
the Super Bowl could have a larger rating, but in a small percentage, it may even up that.
Nah.
Yeah, fuck this. All right, that's enough.
Bob,
about
I will say
Costas.
though too, Bob, like when he covers the Olympics too, something about that voice is like nostalgic. You know what I mean? Love Bob
He's been
Costas.
doing it forever,
Yeah,
but
love that man.
he ain't taking no prisoners.
No.
Bob Costas he woke up and chose violence. 2024, the year of violence.
He had that little
Bob
black. What's he got? A
Costas
little
is
black
like,
turtleneck on. He said, "Hold up, now I got my good glasses on. I'm ready to fuck someone's day up real quick."
He's ready to pull that Glock out the pocket. Like,
called it right
MAGA,
out.
you coming for Taylor Swift? I'm coming for you.
Mm-hmm. Buckle up, Buttercup. Here we go.
So Charles, man, you're a loser or a jackass. You're A or B.
That's it.
He's right though.
It's so stupid to be. That's
Why do you care that much?
The other thing. Okay, so the last thing that I also find incredible about this whole situation is that now that all of the, the MAGA right wingers are, convinced that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are in on some kind of diabolical deep state psyop to turn all of our children gay or whatever. That now the team that they have to get behind is the San Francisco 49ers.
Right.
like as opposed to the Kansas City Chiefs, the team who their fans still do the tomahawk chop.
right.
And who
Good point.
most of their season ticket holders are probably named like Clint Glubbins or whatever
Gary,
the fuck.
yeah.
Yeah. And now they're rooting for the team of Nancy Pelosi and Gavin Newsom and all that, is embodied by California cosmopolitan liberalism. They now have to get behind the Niners.
Oh, it is.
It's
Must
pretty
be
amazing.
Must be pretty difficult.
I mean, I guess it is also Nick Bosa's team, so that's part of it.
That's one MAGA head though.
But which has always been funny to me that like both the Bosa brothers play in California.
Yeah.
Like they have to like every week.
Yeah, they need to send their ass to Florida.
Yeah, every week the Bosa guys have to suit up and run around the field to entertain the very same people that are sucking the adrenochrome out of all of our precious white babies. Must be tough for them.
It's a crazy game, man. It's a crazy game. Crazy world we live in here, fellas. You know what I mean?
Man, what a time to be alive.
Yep. Well, I think I'll just about do it for us here tonight, everybody. Please leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcast. Give us a subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Twitter. I said
Titter.
Titter, baby.
That's the new, yeah. It's gonna go x.com, and once that fails, it's gonna just
Yeah, you're
goes
going to
right
X-
on the Titter.
You're going to
Go to
xxx.com/Titter.
It's logical.
/Citywide Pod.
I'm like tempted to see if that's a real website, but I don't want my computer to get a virus, so I don't think I'm gonna.
Yeah, we
do
need
that.
your computer for this.
Yeah, I don't want to compromise anything.
Not
But
with
hold
Titter.
up, we got to throw the Shield thing in there. Dean told me we should throw this in. Shout out Dean, D-Fop. Yo, we got to get Dean on the pod to talk about the injury.
Big
Yeah,
time.
maybe next
He's
week.
called
Dean, we
upon
got to
now.
get you on the pod
We haven't had a
next
guest
week.
in a
Next
while.
week, make it happen.
If he's free, he's a doctor, man. He's a busy man. But yo, what Dean told me is he told me to tell the listeners, hey, go on your partner's Twitter, your roommate's Twitter, your son's Twitter, your daughter's Twitter, your dad's Twitter, your mom's Twitter. Follow us on their Instagram, follow us on their YouTube, help us get our ratings up, watch our videos on their YouTube. You can put the phone down and walk away. You can hit the like button, just leave it at that. Help us get our ratings up. They don't even have to watch this shit.
Yeah.
Hell, they don't even need to know who we are. If they're your parents, you probably don't want them to know who we are.
I mean, if
true.
you're not able to tie your parents down and clip their eyeballs open and force them to watch the whole YouTube episode, the least you can do is just
Break into their phone.
sneakily
Put the little thing in the face
like
thing.
our
Open it up.
shit on their computer. We'll take that. But and also send us an email at citywidepod@gmail.com. And from all of us here at the Citywide, good morning, good afternoon, good night.
Peace.
See ya.